Chapter 17. Sheep and Dog. Tijaw squinted, carefully pondering everything. Initially, the person who called themselves the sheep wanted them to kill each other, but now, the sheep seemed very concerned about their safety and said they couldn't just watch them die. Isn't this a lie? Suddenly, a flash of insight crossed KXIA's mind. That's it. It's about lying. Everything was as Kaijo had suspected. Sheep and dog were not names but types of games. Could sheep represent the story of the boy who cried wolf? The shepherd boy was left to fend for himself because of his lies. So the sheep game involves lying, a game about deceit. Could dog represent loyalty, just like in the earlier harpoon game? If they hadn't cooperated, none of them would have survived. So, could it be about cooperation? Tijaw picked up the harpoon again and looked at it. The sheep game had the potential for deceit when explaining the rule, but which of these brief statements contained a lie? I can't just watch you all die. If this statement was a lie. Wait a minute. KXIA's eyes widened slowly. This statement is not the answer, but a trap to kill everyone. What are you talking about? Jiao Jinas, confused. This whole statement is a lie. Tijaw declared decisively. Standing by the wall means death, and standing under the hole means survival. Dr. Xiao and Officer Li exchanged glances, unsure of what Kaijo was trying to convey. Everyone, remember. Sheep lies. Tijaw stood in the center of the room, trying to gather everyone around him. Following the rules given by sheep will ultimately lead to our deaths. This is the difference between sheep and dog. Does that really make sense? Xiao Ran asked timidly. There's only a hole above your head. That seems to be the most dangerous place. Kaijo hadn't thought this through either. What could possibly fall from the hole in the ceiling to kill the people by the wall? Tijori considered and changed his approach. Never mind. After this round, there's a high chance we can get out. So you should choose based on your own judgment. How do you know we'll get out? Officer Li asked wearily. Because this round's hint doesn't include a preview for the next game, Tijaw explained. This implies two possibilities. Either this is the last game, or the organizer is very confident in being able to kill us all in this game. The group's faces darkened, but they had no rebuttal. Anyway, I'll stay here, Tijaw said, pointing to his position. As for how you choose, it's up to you. Tijaw knew that everything was speculation at this point. To be safe, he picked up a square board from the floor. After hearing KXIA's explanation, Tiao Jin slowly moved to his side and said, I've said it before. I trust you. But I'm a liar. Tijaw replied coldly. It doesn't matter. Lin King thoughtfully walked toward the center of the room. Hey, what are you doing? Xiao Ran shouted. Sticking to the wall. Do you really believe it? Lin King nodded slightly and said, Yes, think about it. Who has kept us alive until now? Xiao Ran was stunned for a moment, suddenly feeling that Lin King made a good point, and followed suit. Tan Wai Mo covered the wound on his shoulder and also walked over. Your name is Kaijo, right? I trust you too. Chang Yanyan and Zhang Xihan's followed and walked over. At this moment, only drive. Xiao and Officer Li remained pressed against the wall. Hey, aren't you coming over? Zhang Jiang called out. Xiao looked hesitant, seemingly undecided on what to do. There's no need to force others. Kaijo waved his hand. This round doesn't involve cooperation. As long as you can survive, that's enough. The clock on the ground ticked closer to 128. Officer Li squinted at Kaijo. He didn't think this liar would choose to die. But why was he making everyone stand under the hole? At this moment, Lin King noticed the two men's thoughts and said, Tijaw doesn't seem to be lying. Are you coming over? You can tell? Officer Li asked in a low voice. Yes, Lin King nodded. Because of my job, I'm usually able to tell if someone is lying. In that case, Officer Yi and Dr. Xiao exchanged glances and silently walked forward, saying to Lin King, Since a professional has spoken, we'll trust you. Everyone picked up the nearest board and held it above their heads to shield themselves from whatever might fall through the hole. You're quite cunt. Tiao Jiaojin shook his head helplessly and picked up a board from the floor. He examined it carefully. It was now more like a shield than before, with a solid handle and a square shape about 40 to 50 centimeters on each side. Tisha glanced at the time and grabbed Tiao Jiaojin, saying, "Get ready, it's coming." As soon as he finished speaking, the clock struck 130, and a loud clanking noise came from the ceiling, as if some invisible mechanism was being set in motion. Unfortunately, there was no reaction from the hole. The anticipated death and survival did not appear. After a few seconds, the floor beneath them suddenly began to rise. "This is bad." TXIA's expression changed. "It's worse than I imagined." The noise and confusion among the group grew, as no one expected the organizer to try to crush them all in this low room. "What's happening?" Before they could figure out their situation, T shouted, "Quick! Crouch down!" 3 orphan people, quick to react, immediately crouched down, but their expressions were filled with despair. Everyone realized that, given the current situation, the floor and ceiling might meet, leaving no one a chance to escape. Tijao crouched on the ground, his mind racing. He knew his guess was likely correct. The hole in the ceiling was definitely the path to survival, but how could they stay alive? The floor continued to rise with a loud rumble, reducing the room's height by half in a short time. Everyone had to crouch completely to move around. Tijao looked up and saw that the rectangular hole above him was now within reach. In the midst of the chaos, Tijao decisively reached up and explored the hole. It was an ordinary hole, but the interior space was vast, and the ceiling appeared to be made of some hard metal. Could it be? Tijao quickly picked up his square wooden board from the floor. Since the hole was the path to survival, and the board was his only tool, what connection could there be between them? He positioned the board upright and inserted it into the hole in the ceiling, then laid the board horizontally inside and pulled it down. The board firmly lodged into the hole, leaving only a handle sticking out. Is this the path to survival? TXIA's eyes widened as he instantly realized what was about to happen. Seeing TXIA's actions, the others quickly followed suit, inserting their own square boards into the hole in the ceiling. "Be careful." Just as Tijao was about to say more, the floor beneath them shattered into pieces. The scream erupted simultaneously. The group's bodies fell downward, instinctively grabbing the handles above their heads to prevent a direct drop. Tan Wai Imo gritted his teeth, clutching the handle with his left hand. However, he had lost a lot of blood, and his strength was fading. Toja Wai Imo's left hand gradually loosened,